It is 6 o'clock. I'll call the May 26, 2026 meeting of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors to order. I will note that we do have a quorum with all members present. If you would stand, tonight we have Pastor Jason Daugherty from Royal Retreat Lutheran Parish, St. Paul, and Grace Lutheran Church to do the invocation, and remain standing for the pledge.
Mr. Chairman, may I have a point of privilege for just a moment? First, I bring greetings from Grace and St. Paul Lutheran Churches and your brothers and sisters in Rural Retreat in Crockett. And I extend an invitation as we celebrate our 250th anniversary of worship and celebration and service in Wythe County at St. Paul Lutheran Church. And I invite the board and all those in Wythe County to join us September 13th at 10:30 a.m. To celebrate such a long legacy. Thank you. Let us pray. Gracious God, we come before you this evening to do the work of Wythe County, of this community which is so cherished. We ask for your presence in the midst of this assembly as decisions are made and points of concern and decision are brought forward, as voices are heard and direction is decided upon. We ask that you breathe your Spirit into this space. Remind us all that this is for the better good in this space, in this community. For that, we give you thanks for this privilege. Through your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. All right, the first item we have on the agenda is citizens' time. I will remind you have 3 minutes. I would use this time to talk about issues that you have with Wythe County or concerns that you have with Wythe County. And again, just state your name. We have your address up here. So the first person we have to speak is, well, you done all the time. First person we have to speak is Ms. Stacy Beamer.
Good evening. I thought about this a lot, and I think I would be remiss if I did not respond to Mr. Cook and Mr. Terry and Mr. James, who called me out at the end of the May 12th meeting when I wasn't here. In fact, Mr. Cook said hopefully she'll go back and watch this, and I did. To be clear to all of you, and especially you three, I never voiced, suggested, or implied that you would make a decision for this county that would negatively impact your grandchildren. My exact words the last meeting was, I don't want you to tell me congratulations. I would like for you to help keep our county rural and beautiful for the sake of my grandchildren and yours. I felt a little bit confused because it seems you guys took a defense to what I'm saying. Mr. Cook, when you addressed me, and I went back and watched on the video, your words were, when it comes to the data center, it is using a closed-loop cooling system. Who knows if it's going to work? We may all be dead tomorrow. We were told it would only use 2,000 gallons of water and will be 1.5 miles away from houses. So, was your quote, it's not supposed to hurt anything. So let's go back to my December 1st meeting, the first meeting when we found out on social media that we were getting a data center without anybody having a say in it. And I asked you, if you remember, raise your hand if you have children, raise your hand if you have grandchildren, and you did. And that's all I said. I also asked you if any of you had been to a data center to visit. Have you talked to the school system about the effect of the data center? Have you talked to the community, the citizens, about the effect of the data center? Did you research it? Did you attempt to learn anything about the negative impacts of the environment? And I was told no. 5 months later, here we are. Here we are, and we know a lot more about data centers. Okay? Mr. Cook, you stated when you talked on the video, you said We were going by what we were told. We were going by what we were told. This is my concern. I think someone came in here to you guys with big dollar signs and talked you into something that you didn't really research or look into or care about. You just wanted a solution to your problem. And I can't say I blame you for that. But these data centers are being built at a tremendous rate of speed all across the United States. So I didn't mean to offend anybody. I'm just very worried about this. And my number's on that form, so I probably will leave early because I have an obligation, but you may call me anytime.
Thank you, Ms. Beamer. Next person. Next person we have signed up is Mr. Andy Cagley.
Good evening. Happy first anniversary tomorrow of the vote to deal with the, quote, company associated with Project Gradient. On your agenda, you have an item about the land use classification ordinance under old business. So regarding that, I've shared specific tweaks and edits previously and hope that they and all the other suggestions are referred to the Planning Commission and then quickly back to you all for scheduling a public hearing on adoption. Top of the list, ban data centers and solar farms by right in commercial and all industrial districts except for Progress Park. Simply put, in my many exchanges since around 1987, going way back, about the lack of zoning here, many express wonder why Wythe is such a holdout, why we don't have a zoning ordinance. Think what you want about the number of calls or comments you say you've received pro and con on the subject, but really this boils down to just one thing. You might be against zoning, but if that is your opinion, then what you're really saying is you're against the opportunity for a public hearing on something objectionable. And when I throw that back to those who try to defend property rights and the threats of government intrusion and all the other reasons, that stops them. They want, everyone wants, the opportunity for a public hearing. So I'll say it again, and not for the last time. What you really mean is if you're against zoning, is that you're against the opportunity for a public hearing. Our voice is the beating heart of democracy. And please rescind your January 25th resolution welcoming data centers to Wythe County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cagley. Next person we have on the list is Ms. Sarah Bates.
Well, once again, thank you for the opportunity to come and share my thoughts with you all. I honestly appreciate the process. I wanted to start with one quick thing. I don't want to point any fingers, but I really got upset listening to the recording where someone told you all what they thought I was trying to say and didn't have the context at all right of what I feel or say. And I think you're overstepping to try to put some frame or words into my mouth. Come talk to me if you don't have a good sense of why I'm here. I'd be glad to sit down, have some coffee, and talk. Second thing I wanted to say is when I asked for a comprehensive plan, I didn't mean one fragmented by going to 50 different web links to try to piece things together. Comprehensive to me is bring it all together in one place. And that's not there. When I looked back, where are the Native cultural resources on it? Where are the Black cultural resources on it? Why is it I'm expected to look at a list from the Historical Society locally showing 20 places in the county that are of some kind of significance when what it says is number 4 is Fort Chiswell? What about Fort Chiswell? That's not comprehensive. That doesn't tie into the other things. I don't see a comprehensive plan. I particularly want to see an environmental assessment plan. And I'm going to get to this real quick. but partly the bats put it on my radar because when we talk about economic impacts, it was said that the bats issue of clearing the trees was a small, inconsequential thing. We got to do it in the wintertime. But the bats eat a lot of insects, and the insects destroy a lot of crops. So we spray more pesticides on the crops. It goes on down the line. The pesticides are killing off the bees, and we need them as pollinators. So I don't view it as separate fragmented pieces. I view it as we got to look at the whole picture, and I don't think we're doing that. And dropped my cheat notes. The last thing I really wanted to say, I looked at the wastewater plans conversations in the latest Freedom of Information requests that we had done, and it doesn't add up to what you all are telling us you've been told about what will be generated in this closed loop system. I'm starting to question, why didn't you ask for these plans before you approved them?
Thank you, Ms. Bates. Next person we have signed up is Ms. Cindy McElrath.
Mr. Chairman, supervisors, and fellow citizens, we attend these meetings month after month listening to the same people complain about the data center. But what no one seems to be willing to admit is this. Every single day, they use the very technology that runs through these data centers. One of those very naysayers attends these meetings, speaks out against the data center, and then sits down and sends text after text. Every text message you send, every Facebook you post, every Amazon order that you place, every photo that you save in the cloud, and every church service you watch on streaming, every bit of that runs through the data centers. Now, does that mean every project is good? No. And communities absolutely should ask questions about water usage, taxes, power usage, and whether it's truly good for the community. Are we benefiting? Those are legitimate conversations. And let me be clear, I do not want data centers covering productive farmland in Wythe County. But that's not what this fight is about. The truth is, this data center is being built in an industrial park that was developed in the 90s for this very purpose. And it has been marketed as such for more than a decade. This is not prime farmland being taken out of production. This is a data center being built exactly where it was intended to be built. So why all the outrage now? Frankly, it seems disingenuous. If people truly care about our county, perhaps they should focus on the real threats coming from Richmond. This year alone, our Democrat governor signed legislation limiting the ability of local governments to stop large-scale solar projects. Do you think she won't do the same for data centers? Whether she does or not, it proves the point that local governments in Virginia operate under authority delegated by the state through something called the Dillon Rule. Now, if you're not familiar with the Dillon Rule, I might suggest you check out a little podcast called Grace, Grit, and Gumption. That episode dropped May 15th. If people truly care about protecting our county, our farmland, and local control, then maybe people should stop spending month after month fighting a data center being built in an industrial park while Richmond is laying the legal groundwork to industrialize thousands and thousands of acres of productive farmland across rural Virginia. That is the real fight. That is the real threat. So let's stop fighting this imaginary battle and start paying attention to the battles that actually matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McElrath. Next person we have signed up to speak is Mr. Joe Upcavage.
Good evening, and thank you for letting me speak. In the past 15 years, I've been to 43 states, 6 countries, and I've lived in 8 different states, and somehow Wytheville became my home. But in all of them places, every state, I'm looking back at every community I lived in, and every community is fighting like hell against data centers and flock cameras. The fake news will tell you that China is funding it. The people in this room are the ones funding it. We're not trying to stop China or limit us from China beating us or whatever. We're trying to model China and bring in the flock cameras and the data center for the social credit system, which is coming to the U.S., and it's going to come a hell of a lot sooner than you think. The flock cameras, which don't get spoken about pretty much at all that I've heard here. I think it's 30 days. Is that, I don't know if that's true. Klein, if you would know if it's 30 days that you guys get the information from the flock cameras. After the 30 days, all that information, the license plates, the bumper stickers, the facial recognition, all of that, that goes to the highest bidder. All of our information is being sold. That will be used against us with the social credit system. You jaywalk, you look at your phone while you're driving, all that goes, all that is sold. We are being sold, all of our information, all of our data. And whether, yeah, AI data centers are going to be here. AI data centers are not data centers. There is a difference, a huge difference. They are not the same thing. But Wytheville is my home now. My second son was born in my workshop. I delivered my daughter in my living room. No doctors. This is my home now. And I'm going to fight like hell, like everybody else, to do what's right and whatever I can for this county. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person we have is Miss Denise Davis, I'm sorry.
Thank you for letting me speak to you tonight. We've all heard that money is the root of all evil, and more, I believe that to be true. And I truly believe that each of you all up there wants the best for Wythe County, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be sitting in those seats. And thank goodness you are, because I would not want your job. But I also understand that the county has a large deficit, and it's your job to fix that. And I also understand that Solus Arcs has promised $10 million or more to Wythe County, which would more than eliminate the deficit. So it seems like a simple fix. Just let a data center come and all your money problems are gone. But other than the money, what are the citizens of Wythe County getting for a data center? Let's see, there's air pollution, noise pollution, possible water pollution, a possible increase in water and electric bills, and a strain on the electric grid. That's just a few. Is there anything that a data center can give us other than money that people want? I agree with Ms. whoever that was. We do use a lot of data, and I'll continue to use a lot of data, but I don't want it in my backyard. Virginia has over 600 data centers that handle an estimated 70% of global internet traffic. And I can't imagine that more data centers are needed to benefit anyone other than the companies that are building them, because they want more money. And like Joe said, all across the country, people are fighting data centers. As far as I know, the other companies in Progress Park are not damaging the environment, and they seem to be operating without putting a strain on our electrical or water usage. But I don't think that's going to be the same for the data center. Are you willing to sacrifice our clean air and our water and possible the health and safety of our citizens just for money? I have no idea how you will address the budget deficit, and I would not want to be in your shoes to try to solve it. But I absolutely feel that a data center is not the only solution.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Next person we have on the list to speak is Mr. Andrew Russell.
Thank you for the privilege. When J. Paul Getty authored the quote, "If you owe the bank $100, that's your problem. If you owe the bank $100 million, that's the bank's problem," he wasn't thinking about Southwest Virginia's budgets, but he was correctly defining the inflection point that occurs when someone's costs are more than the creditor can compensate for. I learned recently from an Enterprise article that Loudoun County had built a $144 million high school. I'm starting to wonder if they're just spending money because they can. According to the same article, Loudoun County gets $1.2 billion, with a B, from data center tax revenue just this year. And that's how hungry the wolves are that we're letting into our farmland. I do not want to see our county have that kind of temptation. With that kind of money involved, it's hard to say who's in charge, the government or the people who pay them. Personally, I have as good a shot as anyone to work on this project. I'm an engineer and an electrician with experience in power systems, like the proposed structure will require. I've already been contacted on 2 separate occasions about being a part of this project. However, in the few years I've lived here, I recognize what's so irreplaceable about Wythe County, and I couldn't look my neighbors in the eye knowing what forces I helped bind our next generations to. Because language is important, we need a precise description in lieu of AI factory or data factory. We need to refer to it what it is, a permanent extraction entity. Besides the bare-bones security and custodial staff, the only people making money in this county will be the Circle K's selling extra hot dogs and energy drinks to the building crews. Anything more than that would be poor execution on the data center's part. The best tech jobs would be conducted remotely from whatever filing cabinet they stuff their employees in Northern Virginia. At least with the coal business, you could wave goodbye to the wealth your community generated as the trains headed out from your town. Do we think anyone will be writing postcards fawning over the data centers they saw from their kayak down Reed Creek, or the way the sunbeams danced across the solar farm from the view on High Rocks? My concern is not about only the water and the air. It's about us getting in a deal with a market with no desire for real community investment or integrity. We're still waiting. It's been 6 months to see anyone from this company face to face. None of us are interested in being told to shut up and take our medicine, and in light of our budget concerns, we should be wary of any cures we get from someone coming down 81 with a trunk full of promises. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. That's all we have signed up to speak for citizens' time, so I'll close citizens' time. Moving on to the next item of the agenda is public hearings. The first one we have is the proposed ordinance 2026-1, adoption of the county code. Mr. Byer, or Mr. Hankins, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We're still working on our microphones, so I'll address you from up here if you don't mind. So this is the draft code of ordinances that you have before you. Staff has been working on this for about 3 years. I'd like to give credit to Ms. Collins, to Ms. Nestor in our office, and I've had the opportunity to work on it with a fantastic team at Civic Plus. What it does is it takes the ordinances that have been adopted by the board over the years, organizes them and structures them so that we can put them online. They can be found in the code library. They can be accessed in an easy sort of way, and they can be cited by our law enforcement officers who are enforcing the ordinances that you set forth. This has been a long process. It's been a very tedious process. We've read the code more than we would like to. I feel like I'm more of an expert now in code than I ever wanted to be. But we would ask that you consider adopting this code effective July 1st. We do have one more piece to this. That's Ms. Collins has put together a structured assembly of the fees structures that we have, and we'll need you to adopt that before June 30th so that we can get all this online at the same time, get it out into the public, and so we can get our printed copies out to the offices that need to have printed copies.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hankins. And I will note that there was no one signed up to speak for the public hearings.
Mr. Hankins, Mr. Hankins, are there any new ordinances or code within that book that have not already been adopted?
No, sir. This is nothing new. The things that have changed are outdated code references. So if the state has changed a section of code and we refer to that code, we've corrected that, so it now points to the right section of code. If there's a section of code that the General Assembly or the courts have ruled moot, we've taken that out. There weren't many of those. Really all it does is it takes it, organizes it, updates it, makes sure that everything points to the right place so that we can get it online and get the printed copies out.
With the changes, did we keep a list of what's changed?
Yes, sir. I've got a pretty extensive list in my office.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks, sir. You wanna
Mr.
wait
Chairman, I would recommend you at least open the public hearing for comments.
All right, so I'll open the public hearing for any comments. Come on up, Mr. Cagley.
Thank you. I didn't sign up, of course, but is there a reference to ordinances that have been deleted over the years or that might have been on file?
So we still have those,
Hmm.
but if they no longer in effect, they've been removed.
So we can take it to, when we look at the code online, we can see all the active ordinances, and if something I knew about in 1990 is not there, it's deleted or,
It is deleted, whether it's been by action of this board or it's by action of General Assembly of the courts.
okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, hearing none, we'll close public hearing on that. Mr. Barrett, we need to go ahead and take action on that.
You want to wait till the next meeting on that? It's your pleasure,
Okay.
Chairman, if you want to adopt it, you can, if you want to wait till the.
We can wait till the next. Let's move on. All right. The next one we have is the proposed county and school board budgets for fiscal year 2027. Mr. Barrett?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. These are, the notices are posted, they are in our board package. I do not know if you want to read the notices. I will just start out giving a brief overview. It is an overview that many have heard. Appreciate Ms. Davis, she's heard the comments, she referenced them in the process. But basically, our total budget's 118 million, proposed budget's 118.8 million roughly. That's an increase of 550,000 from our FY '26 budget. The requested budget was in excess of 124 million when you all first received it. Working with you all, we have cut approximately $5.8 million out of the requested budget. To balance the budget this year is requiring the use of $3.8 million of reserves. And as I've talked about before, that's equal to approximately 14 cents of real estate tax. We do have adequate reserves to handle that this year. Within the budget, the school system is requesting an additional $2.5 million, which is due to an increase in state funding. They are receiving, the school budget's only up $744,000. It's due to the change in our composite index and other loss of state funding. There are no new full-time positions in the budgets. There are no layoffs or eliminations of staff positions in the budget. And you will get to this in your next public hearing as well, but there are no tax rate changes proposed for the upcoming budget.
Thank you, sir. So I'll open the floor for public input or questions. Anybody have any questions or comments about the budget? All right, here none, we'll close the public comment section. Next item on the agenda is the proposed tax levy for calendar year '26.
Mr. Chairman, the rates are the same as this previous year. I don't think anyone signed up because you didn't change the rate, so there's no additional information on it.
All right. Do we need to go ahead and take action on that, Mr. Barrett, or we need to wait?
No, I would wait until the next meeting before we take any action on the budget or the rates in the process.
Next item on the agenda is payment of invoices. All board members received a packet of the invoices. Is there any invoice or that any board member wants to pull out or questions? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the invoices. Got a motion by Mr. Martin. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Terry. With no questions, Mr. Terry, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 All right, so approved. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our May 12th, 2026 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Burnett. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Martin. Is there any questions or concerns, anything to be added or taken away? All right, hear none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed, same sign. So approved. All right, so we're gonna change gears on everybody right now. We're gonna move some new business up. So we're gonna move the treasurer's report up. Ms. Gwynn?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry, you caught me off guard, so let me get my stuff together. Okay. That's okay, I understand, Mr. Hankins. I need you in the grocery store from time to time. Okay, so, I will say I had not looked at the packet, so I'm not sure exactly what is included. However, I do know as part of the Finance Director's report, you do have the financial report that, that shows our revenue that we currently, or funds that we currently have on hand. So within the consolidated account, as of the end of April, the consolidated account balance is $91,164,126. Included in that total is the general fund amount of $63,193,487. So moving on, kind of a few things with us on the collection side with taxes and things like that. We have mailed out our delinquent notices, which I had, I think, mentioned the last time I was here. So those have been mailed out. Folks are coming in and paying on those. We mailed out about 9,500 tax bills total between real estate and personal property. So early June, we'll start placing holds at DMV for the delinquent personal property taxes in an effort to collect those. We're still issuing warrants in debt. We're still turning real estate parcels over to the collection attorneys to try to collect the taxes on those. So it's a continuous cycle that's happening 12 months out of the year. So it's continuously rolling. We have, as of today, we had collected just on stops up through the point I had looked at our data this morning, over $1 million in personal property taxes just related to DMV stops. And unfortunately, we have to put holds on vehicle registrations to actually force folks to come in and pay their taxes. But that is the situation, and it is what it is. That's one of the collection methods that's available to us. We do contract with DMV on that. And we, in return, collect a fee from the taxpayer that we also have to pay to DMV. So it helps us, but it also helps fund DMV as well. So those are kind of the things of where we're at in the office. Continuing on with the ongoing discussion about the bank reconciliations. And of course, as you see, Mr. Garcia is on the agenda after I am. So at this point, we're continuing to work with him on the reconciliations. As of today, August was for the most part completed. There were still some entries to my knowledge, that need to be made by the finance department to actually finish that out. My staff has started working on the September reconciliation per some instructions that Mr. Garcia had provided, and he had asked that as they complete certain things to send back to him, that if needed, he can make adjustments to help us continue on through that. So our ultimate goal is to hopefully use Mr. Garcia very minimally for the September reconciliation. I'm sure we will have questions that we'll have to contact him, but we're hoping, no offense to him, but we're hoping to not use him as much in September. So that's kind of where we're working at. As far as the reconciliations are concerned, so if we can, the spreadsheet's very complex, and we've had this discussion with Mr. Garcia as well, just kind of understanding it, making sure we understand it. We're doing what, kind of how he has it outlined, because it is very different than what we've been using within the office and been used to. So we're on a new learning curve with that in going through his proposed process. So we're trying to work through that at this time as well. So.
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Williams? Ms. Williams, what processes do we have in place other than the spreadsheet to make sure that we keep everything balanced and reconciled going forward?
Outside of the spreadsheet, we're comparing everything with the bank statements, the general ledger accounts, just all transactions. Going through the new sheet actually has the way that Mr. Garcia has it set up. We're importing the information in, and there's formulas in there that are kind of, I call it a one-for-one. If the amounts match, things like that, it's taking those off. Other items we are having to look into in more detail. We are, with the school changes, with how school has changed since they're on a new system, their information is coming over very differently versus before it was all entered into Tyler. Now their information comes over to Finance Department, and they're doing lump sum entries. So we're having to dig through those a little bit more, and even going forward, now that looking back, we've seen some things that we weren't seeing initially that we are going to be working with the Finance Department on a little bit more in depth.
Do we have a dollar amount that we've paid Mr. Garcia for his support over the last?
That I do not, no, sir.
We do, Mr. Chairman. I don't have that number with me right now, but we had some credits built up in the process of what he had, but we do have, yeah.
Tell you exactly what that number is.
Okay.
That is, the last 2 months and building the spreadsheet was $3,600.
So that's 2 months worth of work? 2 months worth of work?
Plus building of the worksheet that initiated with this process, since the one that was used prior was outdated and very monotonous when it comes to data input.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Mrs. Quinn? Thank you, Ms. Quinn.
Thank you.
Mr. Garcia?
Mr. Chairman, while he's on his way up, I'll just comment to introduce him to everyone. Mr. Garcia is with HBC, I still want to call them their old names, but HBC CPAs. He has been what I consider our pre-auditor for several years now. Localities engage pre-auditors to come in, help them put their books in order so that our auditing firm, Robinson Farmer Cox, can review everything that's out there in the process. Mr. Garcia has been very beneficial for us in helping us get to that. He is aware of the comments we received in last year's audit of concerns about reconciliation processes, and that's why we've had him come in and trying to work with the Treasurer's Office to help take care of these issues. So with that, this is Mr. Garcia.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. So we started this process in February 26th of 26. So it hasn't been that long. We looked at June, built a worksheet in order to accommodate June's reconciliation with the auditor adjustments that they had, and to try to streamline this process, because you do have a lot of transactions. You have about $10 million worth of expenditures running through the bank statement on a monthly basis, and that's made up of checks, wires, and other items that are EFTs or so forth. So we started with that. We got July's done around the end of March, and that was due to my timing of getting stuff done. So it took me about a month to get that to the treasurer, due to it being a special project for you all and me having to work during tax season, which is a very busy time of the year for me. So we got them July. We did have an adjustment that finance had to make in order to get that reconciled, but knowing that that amount would come down when we looked at future months, because it's a process of cleaning up old things that has happened with the new reconciliation. So then we got August done with the help of the Treasurer and Finance Department on May 12th. That did reduce the adjustment down to about half. So we're looking at a net adjustment around $30,000 or $40,000, which is very immaterial to the financial statements or the cash balance. It was actually an increase, so there was just some deposits that we need to identify, which should be identified in future months. With that, we have looked, and they have set back September for me to roll forward and to look at, which I did at the beginning of this week. And then the Treasurer's Office has sent me today some questions, which I responded about 4 o'clock today to get them that information. So they are in the process of September. With this tool that we built, I feel that all the checks will be reconciled automatically. If they dump the information in there, it basically does an XLOOKUP, which matches up to the amount and to the check number, eliminates those from the process, so that's automated. So what they have to look at are wires and deposits. With those, that takes the work of the Finance Department and the Treasurer's Office in order to get that. So I've suggested to them a few times that it needs to be a joint process between those two offices. If it's not, then it's going to be hard for one office to do without the other. Now, the cash is the treasurer's responsibility. But with that, it's her responsibility, or whoever's in that office at the time, because I deal with a lot of localities, to review, approve, and make sure correct. They can use other offices if they so wish. So I have suggested to her and to finance that they work together. And I think they're open to that.
Well, I appreciate that. That was one of my questions I had written down. What recommendations do you have?
That's the major one. If we can get them working together on some of the unusual transactions, which they have for the last 2 or 3 months, then that's going to simplify the process and speed that process along. I built this tool not to have and not to be doing this for you every month. I don't have the time nor the desire to come here and do your reconciliations on a monthly basis. My objective was to build a tool that your office can use and that you can then save that time and use the people that you have in-house.
You know, and I mean, just for me personally, if I was, I would want both parties working together.
Yes.
I mean, you got one that's responsible for it, and then you got one that's responsible for it as well. One's elected, one's not. I mean, they need to work together on that, so that's.
My suggestion, and I have suggested this to both individuals, is that it's the treasurers, they initiate it, then they forward that reconciliation to finance. Finance fills in the stuff that they can do. Then the treasurer's office, which are responsible mostly for the deposits, answers the questions as they have been doing for me when I have the questions on matching up these deposits. Finance finishes that, makes sure it reconciles, and then the treasurer reviews and approves.
Good deal. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Garcia?
That's mine, sir.
Yeah. And like I said, they have spent about $1,800 each month, but the first month was building the workbook, and I discounted that down by half. So I actually had about $4,000 of my time in it, but I discounted it down. And then the second one, I also discounted down to about half, because I know they're trying to work and get this process in line, and they were very nice and accommodating with the timing that I had during my busy season to allow me to work on this when I could. So I did try to save the county quite a bit of money and not billing at my full rate.
Yeah, and on behalf of all the taxpaying citizens of Wythe County, we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Are there any questions on the process or any?
Anybody got any questions for us?
All good,
Very
sir.
good.
My son.
No, we appreciate it. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Well, we're right now moving back, getting back on track as far as our agenda. We're going to old business. First item in old business is appointments. Do we have anything for appointments?
Yes, sir. I would like to nominate Marcy Zahn for the library committee.
All right, so I've got a nomination for Marcy Zahn for the library. Is there any more nominations?
I have one for Alma Watson.
You got one for Alma Watson.
She submitted application online.
All right, so we got two nominations here. I get a second for Ms. Zahn.
Second.
Got a second for Ms. Zahn. Do I have a second for Ms. Watson?
Second.
Got a second by Ms. Watson. All right, so,
Mr. Chairman, the correct procedure at this time would be to take the candidates in order. Correct, Mr. Attorney? So you'd start with the first candidate. If you don't get a majority with the first candidate, then you go to the
Okay.
second candidate.
all right, so I'll call the vote for Ms. Zahn. Mr. Terry, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 No?
All right, congratulations, Ms. Zahn. So, we got to still have the New River Highlands R and C and D council. We don't have anybody for that. And then the Mount Rogers Planning District Commission.
I have spoken with Mr. Matney briefly. I'll follow up with him again. I think he is interested in continuing to serve, but I will just confirm that.
Okay, yep, if you can do that, I appreciate it. Next item is the Land Use Classification Ordinance Guidance. Mr. Hankins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We have held 3 sessions, and I appreciate your patience going through those with me. I know you heard the same thing 3 times. We had good participation from the Planning Commission. We had good participation from the public. I've been doing public engagement for the better part of the last 25 years, and getting over 250 people out to the sort of generally boring public policy discussion is a pretty good feat. A lot of the inquiries that we've had, both online and in person, have been about specific properties, some policy questions, concerns, and suggestions. But at this point, having had 3 meetings, we need your guidance and direction on how we want to proceed. And I did summarize some possible ways forward for you. One would be to keep the status quo. That would be no changes whatsoever. We leave it as it is and go from there. We can seek further public engagement. We can go out, try other ways to get the public involved. We've had suggestions for things like mailers. Mailers, if you want to do those, probably looking at $22,000 each time, by the time you pay for postage, printing, and staff time. There are other ways that we could try to engage the public if you wanted to get more public participation. We could go ahead and refer it back. You could refer it to either to the staff and Planning Commission for review of the suggested map and ordinance, or you could hold your own work session to consider any options that you want to move forward with, any of the changes that have been suggested that you'd like to see made. The fourth one, and it's not one I recommend, would be to go ahead and adopt. You've got a proposed ordinance that's been recommended to you by the Planning Commission, so it's certainly within your purview to go ahead and adopt it. Based on the conversations that we've had, I don't think anybody here has the appetite to move forward that way. Just not putting pressure on you all, but you get to make these decisions. So none of the options are perfect. I like some parts of some of them. I don't like parts of others. It's not about my preferences, though. It's about you representing your constituents. If you don't feel like there's a need to continue the process, though, please give staff and the Planning Commission that direction so that we don't devote additional time and resources to something that doesn't have a realistic path to adoption. If you do want to continue, then please offer your guidance on the preferred path forward, and you don't have to do that tonight. If you want to give it further consideration, you are certainly free to do that and provide that after further consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins. Just for me, I think we owe it to the citizens. We had the meetings, we got their input. My personal opinion is we need to refer it back to the Planning Commission to make the changes that's been suggested, and then bring it back, and we can look at potentially more, whether we have meetings here or we do the same meetings that we had before, just to show the changes before any final decisions is made, or tweaks, any of that. So that, again, that's just my opinion, and I'll open it up to the rest of the board.
I'll agree, Mr. Smith. We need to, definitely needs to be adjusted and come back.
I'd like to see them make changes.
Yes.
We definitely need to see the changes that were recommended are made.
One of my thoughts, since I'm a liaison to the Planning Commission, was instead of possibly doing a joint session, just provide any thoughts or comments to me, and I could present it to the Planning Commission when it gets referred back, and that way they can get some of our input.
I know there's been a lot of comments made online and then in person. And then I actually had a meeting with a group of citizens yesterday in their community. Mr. Morgan was with me when we had it, and had some good open dialogue there, and listened to their concerns and kind of talked through it. And I think if we could make everything ag, I think that would solve a lot of concerns that's going around, with the exception of some of the commercial areas that's identified, not in residentials and the industrial parks. So that's kind of where we are, but I think it needs to go back to the Planning Commission to make the changes. Do we have a motion to send it back, or do we need to make a motion on that?
I think it'd be fine to make a motion to refer back to the Planning Commission.
Got a motion by Mr. Terry, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Morgan. Any questions or concerns about this, sending it back to the Planning Commission? All right.
Would you all like to express some sort of timeframe for consideration?
You want to ask timeframe?
They only meet once.
We meet once a month. We could probably have a work session or two thrown in there, but we're coming into the summer. I think it's probably at least 2 meetings worth of discussions. So the next one is next Monday. I'm not sure that we can be fully prepared, but we can at least have the initial conversation and then look at digging in a little harder after July 4th.
Mr. Chairman, but my only thought would be in lieu of a time frame, it may be good to, sort of give them a little bit of a time frame, but then before it comes back, you have another joint work session and meet with them and talk about the changes that they put in place and from the comments that you all received that we shared with them, and then have that joint work session before we go to the next step after that.
Now I'm good with that. Is everybody good with that?
I'm good with that.
Go ahead.
My only concern is dragging our feet on it.
Yeah.
I mean, the longer we drag our feet on it, the more property gets sold for data centers and solar.
Yeah, we want to be quick about it, so as quick as possible, Mr. Hankins. And I agree, Mr. Byer, that we'd do a joint session with that one. So-
Either during that time frame or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's fine.
I think it'd be
Mr.
good.
Terry, do you want to amend your motion?
Yeah,
to
I'll
that?
amend it.
You have any questions for that on second? Okay, so I got a motion to second. Mr. Byrne, I know I left you out, so we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All right, so approved. Thank y'all. Moving on to new business, the consent calendar. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as
So moved.
presented. I
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Terry, a second by Mr. Cook. Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, Mr. Byrne, we'll stay with you.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All right, so approved. All right, so we're moving on to staff reports. Deputy County Administrator, Mr. Hankins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. First thing I had, and really the primary action item, last Friday at staff's request, Chairman Smith signed off on a modification to the burn ban, or the ban on open burning that permitted small-scale contained outdoor burning in fire pits, burn barrels, fire rings, that sort of thing. So I would ask either that you ratify the modification that was included in your packet, or if you wish to, based on the precipitation that we've received over the last few days, consider rescinding the current outdoor open burn ban. I think either would be acceptable to staff. My concern is we still don't know. We're forecast to continue some drought conditions over the next couple of months. I'm just concerned that if you lift the ban entirely, you may be called upon, within another month or so to come back and put that back in place. But I do know we have a lot of farmers and a lot of agricultural folks who have some burning that needs to be done to make way for crops. If you want to have that conversation, staff would appreciate your guidance.
Yeah, so you answered my question, and we can go back and redo this again in a month. If we rescind it, we can go back and reenact it, right? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
I say we just go that way.
Rescind?
Rescind it.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to rescind the burn ban.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Martin. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Morgan. All right, any questions or concerns about that? Hearing none, Mr. Terry?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Chuck? All right.
Were you looking to see if he's in the floor or not, Mr. Chair?
I don't think he heard us.
Just a reminder, we are moving into the month where we're going to have the festival, or leading up to the festival, the Liberty at the Lake. We are starting to have weekly meetings. We've got one scheduled tomorrow with our staff to talk about event security, event management, traffic management, public safety, some of those things we've already been planning for, but to bring them together in a cohesive sort of way so that we're fully prepared for the festival when it happens. Unfortunately, with the weather conditions, our pool didn't get to open yet in the way that we would like to be open, but we are expecting to be open every day throughout June and July, except for when we have those unsuitable weather conditions. The campground at the lake is open, and our rec director on the sides reports that we have very strong interest in the campground, and our revenue is running ahead of where we were last year. So we were expecting to do better this year, and it looks like we have a good chance to do that. We have had some concerns about Asia Park, about some insects there. We have, gone out, staff's looked. It seems to be happening mostly a couple of hours in the evening leading up to dark. We have called in pest control to see if there's something that we can do about that. It doesn't appear to be any sort of unnatural infestation. It just, it's likely to be biting midges is what the pest control said it was likely to be. So we're trying to address that. Did spray some organic materials around there to try to deter the bugs from coming around. We do have our 911 director here, and I did want to recognize the staff of the Consolidated 911 Center. They pulled off the second major change for the center in a month, adding the new console furniture and an interior renovation of the center. Also wanted to recognize the buildings and grounds crew. Landon Sayers and his crew did really good work, along with Dave Browning from the IT department in making that changeover. It was a heavy lift in a short period of time. They did a fantastic job with it, and it looks like a modern center, and I believe you're going to have the opportunity probably to see that around our day meeting in June. I think we're trying to set up a tour for that. On the emergency services side, Mr. Parnell and Chief Frazier, along with Lieutenants Joe Coley and Jonathan Weimer, did spend a week doing alert training for active shooters in Bristol. They're all certified to teach that now to our first responders, so we're looking forward to getting more prepared for unfortunate mass casualty incidents. Thing is, while they were in Bristol, we actually had a mass casualty incident. We had a wreck on the interstate that involved 9 patients, and we had a lot of assistance from Wythe Fire and Rescue, Smith County VDOT, State Police, Sheriff's Office, and others in getting those 9 patients assessed and out to Wythe County Community Hospital, which also did a very nice job with its response. The last thing I did want to highlight, we have received our upgrade to our staff mobile phones. It's been about 4 years since we upgraded those devices. We're going to be making that change over the next week, so if you have a hard time getting a hold of us, just give us a few minutes while the phones are being transferred over.
Great, thanks, Jay. Hey, I do want to jump back, Mr. Hankins, to the Liberty at the Lake event. In case we go back into a drought situation like we've been in, do we have plans? Because I know we're going to shoot fireworks off and all that stuff.
Yes, sir. So we're going to have fire trucks there anyway. We'll have a lot of us working fire patrol during the fireworks, just to make sure that we don't have anything that spreads or gets out of the way. We got a lot of cropland around the lake, so we don't want to do any damage.
All right. Thanks, sir. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Hankins? All right, here none. County Administrator, Mr. Byron.
Yes, first item I've got is an action item. It's not an action item for tonight, but basically just a short summary of where we are. Based on all the reports that we are hearing, we think it's going to be mid to late June, if by then that we finally have a state budget. So most localities are looking at going ahead and adopting their budgets. So at the June 9th meeting, we'll go ahead and be presenting the budget, following input from you all. And there's a few things we'll need to, make contingent upon, the state compensation board increase is contingent upon the state compensation board approving it. I think we've got 2.5 in there. I don't know if it's going to be 2%, it's going to be 3%. I see us having to do some budget amendments in July once we are done on that. Same thing on the school budget. We'll need to, adopt a school budget. If we adopt it as is, it'll be $2.5 million short, but hopefully there will maybe get some more money with the revised budgets coming from the state. We'll have to decide whether we're doing the salary increases and then also the final budget numbers for all the outside county departments and constitutional officers. Typically, we always set a work session for the day after the Board of Supervisors meeting to review any public hearing comments and make final recommendations and decisions prior to finalizing the budget and getting it ready for y'all's consideration for adoption. So there's not a lot of public hearing comments, but there's still a lot of unknowns out there. Leave it up to you all, but I wouldn't mind having a work session, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's sometime next week, whatever works best, to at least go through and finalize some of these final numbers, make certain that what we want to put in that final budget to advertise.
So what date works for everybody?
What time tomorrow? Usually we do it at like 5 p.m., something like that, right at the end of the day, so everyone can
Can
get
everybody,
here.
can everybody be here tomorrow?
Nope.
What's the next available day, Stephen?
I would say Thursday, but the JPSA meets on Thursday at 4:30. I don't know what time they will be done, and we can't really rush that one in the process.
We're thinking about an hour or less, I'm hoping, Mr. Baker. And I can't do it Thursday either, so.
That's right, you gotta
You can meet without me.
So we want to leave it on Wednesday and we can, and then break cook.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be hard to get everybody together, so it's your all's choice, however y'all wanna do that.
You just want to leave it for tomorrow?
4 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm good with that. 5.
5 o'clock tomorrow? Okay. All right.
So I do have one question, Mr. Byers.
Yeah.
So, some of the representative from the state, they're leaning toward, it could potentially be a government shutdown with the antics that they're playing down there. So we may not know for a while.
Unfortunately, I agree with you. I think that could be the case.
Cool deal.
Joint governing bodies meeting, unless there's any objections, I will invite our reassessment team to come and do a presentation of where they are throughout the county and give information to us. If there's other items that you all would like to see us to have discussed during that joint governing bodies meeting, certainly let us know, but that is Monday, June 29th. I believe the time is 6 p.m. And the last item I have on there is Dunford Road interim financing. As you all are aware, we've got a $5.866 million loan and a $5 million loan and a $2.7 million grant from Rural Development for the Dunford Road Route 94 project. I am working with some of our financial consultants on the interim financing plan. I'd hope to have information to present to you tonight, but I will just carry that over to the June 9th meeting to present to you. But what we're looking for is basically Rural Development will not close on their loan until the project is finished, just like the Barrett Mill project. The good news is on the Barrett Mill project, we should close on it this Thursday, and we will get, I think it's about $5.8 million in loan money, which will give us the funding to pay back our interim financing on it, and then we just have the long-term debt service with Rural Development. Both projects should be starting, the one makes the Dunford Road could start this fall. The 94 one will be early next year. Both been completed in 28. We're trying to get the Dunford Road done by December of 27. The 94 would be early 28. So I've requested for options for interim financing to extend at least till that time frame until we can get the projects built and get reimbursed. So I'll bring that to your next meeting. And other than that, Mr. Chairman, the rest of them are just informational items, but I have to just talk about them because they're good informational items. Number one, the Route 52 sewer project that we have just completed. Mr. Crisp and Mr. Lawrence have been working with our DEQ reps on that. We've been gradually getting additional grant money each time. As of a week or so ago, we have been advised that we will get 100% grant money to cover that, so there will be some paperwork coming to you all to execute, and we'll get that done. But that's about a $1.9 million grant project. So we had some local money that we had set aside to go into that, so that gives us money to go into our next projects. And then the second, Jackson School Sewer Grant. As you know, we've been working with the school system to put a pump station in there and pump to our wastewater treatment plant at Shorts Creek. Estimated cost is $1.2 million. Last we had heard was we were getting a loan on that. As of last week, we got confirmation or an email indicating that we would be receiving that fully grant funded in the process as well. So we'll be bringing that paperwork to you. But that's over $3 million worth of projects that we've had grant funded for taking care of issues that need to be taken care of. So just wanted to share it. And other than that, that's all I've got.
Do we know? Go ahead, Mr. Cooke.
At the water committee meeting, I thought Mr. Chris said that the Dunford Road was gonna be done December 26th, not 27th. Are you saying it's gonna take a year and a half?
by the time it is bid, we'll start this fall, but it should be finished within 8 or 9 months. I'm saying December 27, just so I can get all the paperwork closed out and all that with rural development. It takes time afterwards. But yes, it's a shorter time frame on the build. Mine's just allowing for the RD paperwork out. But I don't think at this point in time we'll be able to be finished by December of 26. But early 27, we should be finished.
He said 27 on,
Yep.
on 94, so I mean, everything's pushed back one.
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Bear, on the Jackson School sewage, we're gonna fast track that, right?
Yes, I think it is like ready to go out to bid. I don't think we have put the bids out on it yet, but I think it is ready to go out to bid. We want to get it done as quickly as possible. I've shared this information with the school system. Dr. Street, Friday night at graduation, said, thank you, that's good news, because that was going to be in their debt service payment starting the following year for that. So they're very appreciative of that, and that takes care of a problem they've had there. I don't know, Dickie said forever. So it's been a while, so.
Cool. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Bear? All right, here none. County administrator, our county attorney, Mr. Father.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have anything. Thank you.
All right. That done moved you up the list. All right, we'll move on to board reports. The first item we got is Budget Committee.
I've got a lot, Mr. Chairman. The Budget Committee met on May the 19th, 2026, and makes the following recommendations. First, in fiscal year 2027 local government bonus ordinance, revise the employee bonus ordinance to include full-time constitutional officers, social services, electoral board, registrar, and county employees.
All right, coming from committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any concerns or questions about this as presented? All right, here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Budget amendments, authorize the following budget amendments. The first one, $199,360 from account 5301-450140, CSA supplemental allocation request.
Can we do them all at one time, Mr. Mayor?
I just go through them all individually, just in case there's questions
Okay.
on each one of them. And I will just comment on this one. There's information that Ms. Ayers and Mr. Blankenbeckler have shared in here, but CSA budget is always based upon the best guess. You don't know how many kids you're going to have in foster care and how many you're going to have in other, and Mr. Klein was with me today, so I'll put him on the spot to help me. But our numbers went from last year's budget from like 24 to this year. We're currently with 51 kids in foster. Does that sound about right? 53. So just between that and all the other issues that we're having, it's just they are requiring a supplemental appropriation in order to get through the rest of the year from what we budgeted.
All right, coming from a committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns about this as presented? All right, here none, Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 So approved.
All right, next one, $100,000 for 1301-470012, the election systems and software upgrades.
All right, again, coming from a committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns about the election system?
I'll just, Mr. Counts presented some information during our budget information time about new equipment. He received some better prices than what he had before. He came back in order to get these in order to have them for the fall election. He would like to go ahead and put them in an amendment to this year's budget so he could issue a purchase order and get them in.
All right. Again, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or anything on that? All right, Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Next item, $126,003.34 from 31021-470030. Transfer from Sheriff's Federal Asset Forfeitures Fund. This is the amount plus interest to the Police Activity Fund, and amend and appropriate the same amount of the $126,003.34.
All right, again, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns about this request?
The sheriff and I would request that you allow us to add whatever interest to date to increases this by whatever cents it is, so he can close out this account and no longer have to do any more reporting on it in the process.
Is that, you're going to add that in? Does anybody have any questions about that? All right, hearing none, Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 So approved.
All right, the next item, $29,937 from 4100 to 4100-470070, transfer from the general fund to revenue sharing, Grandview, and amend and appropriate the same amount.
All right, again, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns on that?
Has that money been collected already from?
No, it is, this is for the utility relocation that's out there, so AEP poles, Bright Speed, and Citizens. We have, we included 20 or 25,000 as a utility estimate, and it's going to be like this. It's more than that in the process. When VDOT gets finished with the road construction, we'll take all the numbers and see what changes we need to make to lower or increase the rate on Grandview when it's done. But this is one they have started paying the taxes on already for the first year. I think this past year was the first year they paid on it.
That's what I meant.
Any additional questions? All right, Mr. Burnett, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 So approved.
All right, the next items, these are budget transfers. These are to authorize the county administrator to transfer the following amounts. The first one, $168,321,24, or $321.24. Transfer from salaries 3506-411000 to furniture and fixtures 3506-470015 for purchases of 2 additional call handling positions and 2 additional telex dispatch consoles. This motion includes authorizing the purchase of 2 mobile workstation kits using the remaining VDM funds.
All right, again, it's coming from the committee. It doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns with the request as presented?
Mr. Chairman, if I might make a request. Ms. Parsons has negotiated about $17,000 off of that amount with the provider, so that it would be a smaller number, but that would be the maximum. But would also ask that your motion include authorizing the staff to go ahead and prepay the 2 mobile workstations. Is about $16,000 this week. If we can get the check out the door this week, we'll get reimbursed for it from the state through grant funding. Otherwise, we may lose that grant funding.
I'll amend that, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so I've got an amendment. I'll get a second on that, right?
I guess let's make that as a motion and a second.
So I got a
we're
motion by
revising
Mr.
it.
Terry. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Morgan. Is there any questions or concerns? All right, hearing none, Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 So approved.
And just for the record, Mr. Chairman, these are internal transfers that the county administrator is allowed to make, but because it was large amounts and not originally what was projected in the process, we are taking this funding from our vacancy savings in our positions this year where we didn't fill those positions. So it's no amendment and appropriate to this, it's just transferring those funds around.
The next one, $175,000, transfer from radio tower upgrades 9,000-470232 to the emergency services capital 9,047-470261 for purchases of critical emergency response equipment.
All right, again, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns?
What is this critical emergency response equipment we're talking?
Page 153 of the package has the request. Mr. Hankins, I'll let you go over it.
The majority of the equipment is extrication equipment, so these are things that we talked about the fire departments and emergency services needing during the budget work sessions, and the board told us if there was a way that we could find to do some of these purchases in current year, that you'd rather do that than move it forward into future years. So there's some extrication equipment. This is what they use to cut car wreck victims out of cars and stabilize those vehicles while they're doing their emergency activities. There's a side-by-side for Max Meadows Fire Department because they're the only ones in the county that don't have a side-by-side. So some of these remote areas that they go into, they need that to get in. And then replacing the rock boat that the county has.
What about the rock boat? I thought we already had one.
You have one, its manufacturer has gone out of business, and we're finding it hard to get parts and keep it in good repair. So we'd like to purchase from a more reliable manufacturer, one that has a longer history in business, and will give us the equipment that we need to be able to do water rescues.
So when we get this one, we're gonna put the one we got on the market.
That's our plan, yes, sir.
Any other questions? Hear none, Mr. Vernon?
Aye.
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 So approved.
The last transfer is $615,206. Transfer from Lots Gap Tank 9050-47-0445 to interim finance payoff 9050-47-0447 for Barrett Mill Water Project.
All right, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns with that?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just state, this was what I was talking about a minute ago. We've got, we're closing on 5.4 million next week, and we will turn around and pay 4.512, something like that, off in interim financing, and this transfer will help us have enough funds in that account to do so.
All right. Hear none, Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Next item, radio equipment sale. Authorize offering surplus radio equipment to Blaine County for a price of $135,564 with a 5% negotiation variance.
All right, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns as presented? Hear none, Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Next item, the local choice health insurance renewal. Authorize renewing the county's health insurance policy with the local choice and approve the new rate contributions as presented.
All right, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Mr. Barry, you have anything?
Yeah,
to add?
I will comment on it. We reviewed these rates with the insurance committee a few months ago. As you're aware, we had a 17.5% increase between us and the school board jointly for health insurance rates increases. Other localities had 12%, one had 25%, and one I heard was at 40 and negotiated down to 20-some, but that was not through the local choice, that was through their own insurance. The one change that the committee did recommend on this is something we've talked about and looked at over the years. We used to offer a Key Advantage 500 plan along with this. What we're recommending, what the committee recommended to come forward is just proceeding with the Key Advantage 1000 and the Key Advantage and the high deductible health care plan.
All right, does that generate any additional questions or concerns?
Our budget and the school board budget does have these numbers included in it.
All right, hear none, Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Next item, Ag and Forest District application fees. Authorize settling an application fee of $500 to establish Ag and Foresterial districts.
All right, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns as for this item as presented? All right, hear none.
How much is the fee now?
I do not recall what it is. I know Miss Shelton had researched and to pull the number up because we've got several of these over the next couple of years that are coming up for renewal and need to have the process of that. And plus, if there's any interest in a new ag and forestal district, that fee was established.
Mr. Mark?
If you don't mind, help the new kid on the block.
Yes.
What do they come at, or how does this work? What is this?
Well, one of the resident experts on this is in the room from my years ago in the process. Ag and forestal districts, and I will send you the code section off of it. And I'm going to give you the non-lawyer view of it, and Scott can give you the lawyer view of it. But basically, citizens join together and come to the county and ask the county to establish an ag and forestal district. There are guidelines that it has to have a core of X amount of acreage, and then it can have additional acreages within a distance of that or whatever in the process. We have Fairview and East Fairview and Crockett's Cove and Gunton Park, and it seems like there's one more.
Miller's Creek.
Miller's Creek have one. Maybe Miller's Creek has one, but anyway, these residents come forward and they say, basically, we want to create an ag and forestal district. And in doing that, they are agreeing that they are saying that our land will not be developed to a more intensive use than agriculture. And the unofficial word that was sort of said to me years ago when I first got married, it's sort of a self-zoning thing. A lot of this started in the Crockett's Cove area when the 765 KV line was looking at coming through in the late 90s. A lot of the residents up there joined together and created a Crockett's Cove Ag and Forestal District that's still in existence to this day. Is that a good 30,000 foot view of it in the process? And during the review period, the residents had the opportunity to come out of it with, during that review period, you know, if all 70-year-old landowners, and Mr. Terry says, I want out at that time, he comes out. If Ms. Collins says, I want to come in during that time, all those people can come in, the board holds a public hearing, and then readopts or reinstitutes that ordinance for the next 10 years in the process.
Does anybody have any additional questions?
No.
So we're gonna move on. All right, here none, Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved.
All right, the next item, these are requests for closeout of certain Board of Supervisors reserve funds and authorize a transfer from the Board of Supervisor reserve funds to the general fund and to close these accounts out. The first one, E911 fund, $1,270, earning interest only since 2017. Transfer to the general fund to assist with expenditures on dispatch center upgrade.
All right, coming from the committee, it doesn't need.
Mr. Chairman, if you all want to do all four of these together, I have no objections to that if you want to do that.
All right, y'all
All
good with
right.
that? Yeah.
All right, so that's the first one. The second one, playground fund, $12,473.36. Transfer to the general fund for expenditures to Ager Park Playground and upgrades. The third one, county office building fund, which is currently zero, close the account. Funds have already been used on county office building construction and additions. And the last one, number four, the ARPA 2021 fund, it's zero. American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Funds were used to, this account funds were used to track receipts and expenditures of funds from the ARPA. Funds have been fully drawn down and expended prior to the start of the current fiscal year.
All right, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns with any of these as presented? Here none, we'll start with you, Mr. Terry.
Aye.
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 So approved.
All right. Number 8, request to establish Board of Supervisor Reserve Fund. Authorize establishing a Board of Supervisor Reserve Fund for photo enforcement fines to receive and track funds received after July 1 of 2026.
Again, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns with this as presented? All right, here none, Mr. Burnett, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 So approved.
And the last one, Mr. Chairman, the Tower Property Lease Agreement. Approve the Tower Property Lease Agreement with the town of Wythe.
All right, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concern with this? All right, here none, Mr. Terry, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 So approved. You sure you don't have nothing else?
That is all I've got for budget, Mr.
Right.
Chairman. Committee amending agenda was longer than the board meeting agenda. So.
Absolutely.
May want to get him an IV.
I'll take 2, please.
Next item on the agenda is the Board of Supervisor time. And Mr. Terry, since you got the hot mic, we'll just let you stay.
Thanks, sir. Just want to say congratulations to all of our high school graduates at all 3 county schools. I apologize for not being there in person. I've usually always make those, but we had some circumstances with extended family through this weekend and was not able to attend, but certainly congratulations to all the young men and women and finishing their high school careers. And that is all I've got, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Morgan?
One thing, Mr. Barrett, did you get my email about the citizen on Barrettville Road?
Yes, I did. Mr. Crispin spoke to him today, and we were sharing some information with him. And then if he wants to come in and meet with us further, we'll let you know as well, and you can come in and talk to him. Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Martin?
I have nothing at this time.
Thank you, sir.
I have nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Ms. Crockett? Thank you, Ms. Crockett. Mr. Burnett?
I'd like to echo Mr. Terry, congratulating all of our high school students for their graduation, and I'd also like to, happy Memorial Day to all our veterans.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday. And that's all I have.
Is that it? Again, I'm going to echo congratulations to all the graduates and all the faculty and staff that helped them get through. All the ceremonies went well, I thought. It was exceptional. I did appreciate that. And if you wasn't at the George Wythe or the Wytheville Technology Center when they honored the family who lost a child, I thought that was top notch. So I don't know that I could actually walk across the stage being a parent has lost a child, but that's to be commended that they honored that family like that. So I do appreciate that. I did mention earlier that we did have a meeting with the community. Yesterday, we met with the residents of Whispering Pines, and we did have a good conversation with them about the zoning, and we also talked about water. Mr. Byer, could you give us an update on where we are with water to continue through the Whispering Pines community?
Yeah, it is part of the multi-community grant that they've been working out with the PER on that in the process. We'll need to finalize plans with the water committee as to if we do all of those or part of those. Part of that is the connection from Wytheville at the industrial park coming all the way into Max Meadows. And then that, I can follow up with Don and make sure we put on next water committee agenda and see where we're going.
Yeah, if you don't mind. I know that there's been several house fires there, and there's only one hydrant in that area, so if we can get water in there to that, there was some concerns with that. And then the last thing I I talked to Delegate Cornett about the cannery, and I don't know if he reached out to you, Mr. Byer, or not, but the Tobacco Commission could potentially fund that entire project if we can reach out to them. That's all I've got. Next item is closed meeting under the Code of Virginia 2.23711A8, consultation with legal counsel to review of estoppel statement.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Terry. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Morgan. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed, same sign. Now we're in closed session. All right, I'll entertain a motion to come out of closed session. Got a motion by Mr. Terry, second by Mr. Morgan. Do a roll call vote, Mr. Burnett.
Aye.
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 All right, we're now out of closed session and open session. Mr. Terry, if you read the certification.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Info Act. Whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors that such a meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in this closed meeting to which the certification resolution applies. And only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening this closed meeting were heard, discussed, and are considered by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors. And I will make that a motion, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right, got a motion by Mr. Terry. Do I have a second?
So moved. Your second.
Got a second by Mr. Martin. All in favor, signify. No, we'll do a roll call vote, Mr. Terry.
Aye.
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 All right, so approved. Mr. Byer, is there any more business coming before the board tonight?
I am not aware of any additional business, sir.
Mr. Hankins?
Only that I'm so proud that Mr. Bear spoke so highly of another Emory and Henry graduate tonight, with Mr. Garcia.
I knew that. I decided it was not the appropriate time nor place. But despite going to Emory and Henry, Mr. Garcia has done a tremendous job.
Mr. Fothering?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Collins? All right, here none. We will be in recess until Wednesday, May the 27th, 2026 at 5 p.m. for the budget work session. Y'all have a good evening.